Hi, so the article I read and I'm going to talk about is called Kiribati, A Changing Atoll Culture. It was written by the Institute of Pacific Studies of the University of the South Pacific. This article is about its speaking and writing of the different languages and the island's usage of the English language. The Kiribati language have gone through many changes and it is reflected in their culture today. I'm going to talk about the background of the Kiribati language, its usage in school and church, language preference in public affairs, Kiribati literature, and the review of my presentation. The background of the Kiribati language. The Kiribati language was first written by Reverend Hiram Bingham Jr., a missionary who arrived in 1857 to the islands. The missionaries translated the Bible in their native language. However, there was difficulty in translating and spelling the words. I think it was difficult for the missionaries to translate the language because the Kiribati language, they have to translate a spoken language to now a written language. Also, the Kiribati have their own different language that they speak in comparison to the other islands. So the missionaries had to translate the Kiribati individual and native language. The use of language in schools and churches. In the first 3 years of school, the children speak in their native language. In the 4th year, the learning of English is introduced. In the 5th through 9th year, the English is gradually introduced as the language of instruction. As students studied at secondary school level, there was an emphasis on speaking in English. The primary education responsibility was put on the churches. In the Kiribati churches, it is services in the local language. I think it's a good idea to teach English in schools because it helps students branch out, if they go to other places in the world. And English is a universal language. For example, there are many people from Kiribati that go to BYU, and I think that it really helped that they learned English beforehand. Another thing that I liked about this was that how they taught English in schools, how it was very gradual, and it was a good transition. I think it's also a good way to communicate with others from different places. In relation to becoming a teacher, I think it's all about communicating with others and getting through to them the things that you want to teach them. Okay. Language preference in public affairs. In the Kiribati language, English has become an important language. Government reports and documents and the nation's constitution is written in both Kiribati and English. However, when dealing more with public interests, the Kiribati is used. Radio programs and newspaper articles are presented more in Kiribati. I think for the people, they prefer their native language. In the article, it talks about how people really didn't like the change. They kind of felt resentment towards the English language, and I think especially for the older and conservative people, they would criticize the younger people that failed to call or speak in their proper Kiribati speech. They kind of wanted, they discouraged the speaking of English language because I think that they were so used to their ways. Kiribati literature. The Kiribati literature is very limited with reading materials in their own language. However, newsletters and church publications are written in their own language. One thing that the Kiribati schools did was that they would have short stories and writing contests in their schools to promote writing in either their native language or English. So, in conclusion, I think this article talks about the Kiribati language and the development and growing of the English language in Kiribati. In schools, language is important in teaching the students about the different subjects and making sure that they understand. And I really like this article because it talked about the growing of the English language and communicating with others from different places, and I learned a lot about the Kiribati language and schools and the country. So